Hi everyone, it's TJ. I am doing a video post for discussion board number 4. This week we were looking at free writing and poetry. The first question says, what is your response to information that you read? So it's good to have, my response to it is um, just kind of reconfirming some of the things that I've already learned. Um, it's good to have that understanding of the research and the evidence-based aspect of it, knowing how free writing can be a means to allowing clients to express the things that they might not be able to express during therapy, um, giving them that outlet to be their own therapist, right? Like one of the articles reads or read, it's the cheapest. I think it was like the 79-cent therapist. So that was, the reconfirming aspect of it. For the poetry, however, um, it was fairly new. I don't know a lot about poetry. I haven't implemented a lot of poetry into anything I've ever practiced or done. And so, um, gaining how it can be used therapeutically by like providing us that soothing or soft way of approaching things, recognizing that it's really that breaking in how we write, um, the breathing in and breathing out, right? I can't remember the exact way it was phrased, but we talk on our way. We when we speak, it's our breath exiting, and then that pause in between is the breath in, which is the life aspect of it. And so bringing the focus into the breath and ensuring breathing is happening is obviously one of the therapeutic aspects of it. And then again, that healing portion of like um, providing that outlet for that calming kind of soothing kind of rhythm of things is really kind of what I gathered from it, or the response to it, and how it's free to anybody's expression and interpretation. So um, we're not constricted by these academic um, pressures to write our poetry in a particular way, or to have it conform to any certain kind of standard. And so I think that in itself can be kind of refreshing. The second question or set of questions is, do you use free writing in poetry or in your personal life? Is this something you have learned to do before? What are barriers to keep you from using free writing in your own life? I have not used free writing or poetry in my personal life. I have used free writing or kind of guided free writing in group therapy or groups that I've run. Um, but it's typically with a topic in mind. We ask clients to write to a particular um, aspect, or we give them a prompt of some kind that they can use to interpret for themselves and then write on that. But as far as me implementing either free writing or poetry into my own life, it's something I haven't done. Um, and kind of um, the barriers to that, or at least currently, would be the level of writing that I have to do already. Um, working in school and homework and all of that is a lot of writing. And I just think for myself, it wouldn't be. I don't see it being self care currently. Is it something I can implement in the future as self care? For sure, uh, but not like that's a huge barrier. Is just the current load of writing that needs to be completed um, daily, weekly, um, is just astronomical, and so I don't feel like I would be able to benefit from it. I would see it more as a chore rather than something I could actually gain from. The next aspect of it says, I want you to take 10 minutes to free write and talk about what your experience was. So I took 10 minutes and wrote. Um, for me, it's very difficult to just begin free writing without any kind of prompts or questions or anything to just kind of go that helps me like begin the writing process to start speaking to. And so for me, in order to begin the free writing aspect of it, I had to use free writing as a prompt. And so I just started writing about free writing and found it to be difficult, primarily because I did it on a computer. I should do it in a journal. I think that would be easier. Um, it would give me the ability to just kind of like skip over or not have to worry about whether or not I spelled things correctly. If you do it into a Word program or something like that, you're going to know immediately if it's incorrect. Um, and so, like some of the articles were talking about being able to skip or just free write and go, and don't worry about grammar or spelling or punctuation or anything like that. Just keep going. Um, so my experience is that I found it very difficult to do that because I am, I guess I would say I'm a perfectionist, and when I see those things, I have to backspace or correct it immediately, rather than just continuing on and allowing the process to be the way it is. Um, and like the articles were saying, it's free writing is really just a process of putting it out on paper and getting it out there, and then being able to go back later on and making those corrections and refining what we have done. And that was just something that I found it to be kind of a barrier. The aspect, though, through the writing, it did kind of reinforce or reiterate that perfectionist aspect of needing to do it correctly the first time, and identifying that I would definitely need to practice this a lot in order to get through it, or in order to just start developing that skill. And difficulty, I guess, in identifying, or one of the other things that I found is that it's difficult for me to go from academic writing to um, free writing, and having those kind of conflicting um, ideas in mind, needing to write with a particular voice or in a certain manner, and then having free writing using my own personal voice, or the ability to just kind of flow and not have to worry about where things are heading. So that was my experience with the 10 minutes of free writing. My poem was pretty much the same. Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with poems. What I do have was from high school, which was, a long time ago. And even when I was there, it wasn't very good. So, again, my experience, I need something to step off from. And so I couldn't really think of anything to write from. And so, I started off several attempts to get it, and then just found it super difficult to just be comfortable with the breaks, and moving down and not recognizing the breath within it. Feeling like it needs to rhyme in some fashion. So with all those things conflicting, it was very difficult to get through. So that was really my experience with the poem. And then the last aspect it asks, or one of the last things, is to please share a poem that has been or has had an impact on you. Please read the poem on your video response. So like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with poems. It's not something that I've really looked into or tried implementing in my life. So I don't have a favorite poem. So I did some research and looked around. One of the favorites within my house, I guess, if this is considered a poem, is it's from Dr. Seuss. So I apologize if anybody gets offended that it's not, I don't know, something different. But this is the poem, and it's called I Love My Job. So the poem reads like this. I love my job, I love the pay. I love it more and more each day. I love my boss. He is the best. I love his boss and all the rest. I love my office and its location. I hate to have to go on vacation. I love my furniture, drab and gray, and piles of paper that grow each day. I think my job is really swell. There's nothing else I love so well. I love to work among my peers. I love their leers and jeers and sneers. I love my computer and its software. I hug it often, though it won't care. I love each program and every file. I'd love them more if they worked a while. I'm happy to be here. I am. I'm the happiest slave of the firm I am. I love this work. I love these chores. I love the meetings with deadly bores. I love my job. I'll say it again. I even love those friendly men. Those friendly men who've come today to clean white coats to take me away. So I picked that um, after looking through all of them because I think it speaks to social work in several aspects. One is the growing piles of paper that are constantly there, all the notes, all the paperwork that we have to do within any job that we're in. Um, the meetings with people that we may not always agree with or want to do, we constantly are there, for that aspect. And then towards the self-care aspect, at the end where it talks about those friendly men who come today in clean white coats to take me away. I just think that it speaks to that burnout aspect of where it can lead us if we're not engaged in the self-care process. And so that was the poem that I have. The two activities I have chosen to engage in for the self-care this week have been exploring a new topic, which I am glad to see on there because I do like to research new things and how to do various things. So I have not engaged in it yet. I will. And the other thing that I chose to engage in is the wall of affirmations. I actually hear about this, and it's something not necessarily the wall, but identifying post-its and things, or writing affirmations and placing them at various locations throughout the house in order to be able to see them and read them and know that we wrote them. So I've heard it a lot in kind of group sessions and things that has been brought up by clients, and it's been something I've been exploring a little bit but haven't engaged in. So I will begin doing that moving forward. So I will write on that when I submit my paper. So that is it. Everybody have a good week.